It's a long way to the top. If you want to rock and roll, gonna rock and roll. Riding on the highway, going to a show. Stopping on the byway, playing rock and roll. Getting round, getting stoned, getting beat up, getting a bone, getting high, getting shook. Watch on your bones, it's harder than it looks. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll. If you feel it's easy to do one night stands, try playing a rock and roll band. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll.
Good evening, race fans. I'm your host, Caden Reif, and welcome back to another installment of the 2007 season of the NASCAR Coca-Cola Cup Series. We take to race number 23 out of 36. It's the Southern 500 here from Darlington, one of the biggest races of the calendar. Couple of big night races back-to-back here in the month of September as we take you to the racetrack right away for your starting lineup in tonight's race. Starting on pole, it's going to be the number 16 of Greg Biffle in the first position, and joining him on the front row is another fellow Ford. It's Ryan Newman's number 38 in second. Starting from third tonight, it's going to be Matt Kenseth, Biffle's teammate, right behind him in third. Bobby Labonte in fourth position in the 18 car. Scott Wimmer going to be in P number 5 with Casey Kane to his outside in 6th place. Jason Leffler, he'll be P7 in the 00. Nice qualifying from the Haas C&C effort. And 8th place goes to Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88. Kurt Busch starts from 9th. And Jeremy Mayfield will be in the 10th position. 11th goes to Justin Allgaier in the 02, and Elliott Sadler will start in the 12th spot. 13th, that'll be Casey Atwood, and John Andretti in the 14th position. DJ Kennington, P15, that's your points leader. 16th will be Scott Riggs in the 57 car. 17th, that's Keselowski. 18th will be Kevin Harvick's number 20. Jeff Gordon starts from 19th, and Eric Norris in the 51 rounds out the top 20. Robbie Gordon, he'll be starting 21st. 22nd goes to Kyle Busch in the 43. Martin Truex Jr. will be in 23rd, and Jimmy Johnson in the 24th position. 25th, J.J. Yeley, joined by Marcos Ambrose, another fellow rookie, in 26th. 27th, that'll be Jamie McMurray's number 40 car, and Carl Edwards in 28th. Ricky Hendrick will start 29th. And Tony Stewart in the 30th position, second in the championship standings. Bit of a rough start for the 42, just barely inside the top 30. Juan Pablo Montoya's number 84 will be 31st, and David Rudiman in the 32nd position. Casey Mears starts 33rd, with Shane Meal in the 31st spot. 35th, that's going to be Todd Bodine, and 36th will be David Reagan in the 07 car. Jeff Burton, number 8, going to be in 37th, and 38th, that'll be Morgan Shepherd's 89. TJ Bell, going to be in P39, and 40th goes to Clint Boyer. And rounding out the field in the back row, it'll be Jeffrey Bodine's number 7, and Ricky Craven in the 96 this week. 42-car field, as always, bit of classic action here from Darlington. 111 laps is your race length. So we take you to the racetrack for the most famous words in motorsports, the command, here from the Southern 500.
Drivers, start your engines!
Field of V8 roars to life as always as we get set to roll here. A long race here tonight. A lot of laps, a lot of action. One of the most challenging racetracks on the Cup calendar here today. It's going to be a lot of aggression, a lot of action, and the number one thing, avoiding early trouble. We see a lot of accidents early in the running at this racing facility. Usually there's almost always one on the initial double file start. So it's going to be important to keep the nose clean, and it's been a while since we mentioned it, but this is one of the racetracks. It's got an old racing surface. Tires are everything here tonight.
And as important as tires are, because it's an old surface and how narrow the racing groove is, it really is just a test of man and machine, and experience pays dividends here at this racetrack, and gonna have to keep your car out of trouble like you said, but the biggest part is going to be making sure not to mess up and slap that wall, because if you can't carry the speed down these long straightaways, you're going to lose a lot of positions.
Keeping the right side of the race car and the nose of the race car clean is going to be the name of the game here tonight. One of the most important races on the NASCAR calendar is the Southern 500, and it is an absolute thriller of a race, and it will be exciting to see all these guys who are so desperate to win a race as important as this one try to fight for that trophy at the end of tonight. 111 laps is your race length here from Darlington. Pace car is in on the left. It's Greg Biffle and Ryan Newman on the front row out of turn 4, waiting for the flagger, coming to the line. Green flag is in the air, and we are racing here from Darlington. Spinning around in the back already, it's the 31 of Robbie Gordon sideways, and we wreck on the backstretch right away. Jimmy Johnson involved in it as well. He takes his slide, and we're under caution for the first time here tonight already.
Yeah, some heavy hitters involved in that one. Johnson, last week's winner at Bristol, spins around on the back straightaway. Robbie Gordon.
Oh, goodness, wrecking again on the front stretch.
And Bodine going to pile into that very late. We'll have to see what happened there. Looked like Neal had some damage, but it all started with Robbie Gordon getting slid sideways coming out of turn number 2 on the opening lap.
And this one starts up in front of them with Kevin Harvick and Scott Riggs. We talked about the early trouble at this racetrack. Riggs brushed the outside wall, not really enough room to take it 3 wide. And Gordon goes for a spin on the backstretch. Eric Norris got a piece of it, and Truex, who wrecked there, coming back to the line out of turn 4, was already in the inside wall in this one. But yeah, it was Johnson who clipped the spinning 31 and got help from the 13 of Marco Zambros there. You see these guys sliding around. Bodine also got in both accidents in the 7. Looked like he got into the spinning 55 of Mir, so it was a kind of a double collection, as he had nowhere to go with Mir's. But it was Truex's number 28 who was around out of turn 4 as these guys were all trying to get collected. Yeah, just kind of slid up into traffic on the flat, and Todd Bodine gets into it. And you saw Mears piled into that late, so did Bodine. Hard to see through all the smoke, and actually I believe Truex got hit into the path of Mears, maybe. Yeah, got a little bit of help from the 47 and the 31, and then Bodine also couldn't get around the 55 as he was spinning out of control, so a lot of early collisions, but we are under caution already. As expected, early incidents at this racetrack. Gonna see some drivers come in and check their race cars, top off on fuel. A couple will stay out. Looks like Scott Wimmer is going to be the first race car to stay on the track, while the 2 Roush teammates, first and second, Biffle and Kenseth, going to bring it down pit road right away here from Darlington as they are on pit lane here. Couple others stay out. Allgaier, the 02, the part-timer running full-time in the Busch Series. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 54 of Mayfield, came back from injury last week. Jeff Gordon and Elliott Sadler also stay on the racetrack, so it should be quick fuel-only stops, maybe 2 tires for these guys. We're going to get quick looks at their race cars after just a singular lap on the racetrack. Top 3 all Fords in for fuel and nothing else. And the 16 and 17 are away. We'll take an intermission here from Darlington. Scott Wimmer takes the early race lead thanks to the pit stops. It's early in the going here in the Southern 500, and we'll be right back. It's NASCAR on ESPN. Back from intermission here at Darlington as we get set to go back green after the early first lap yellow. Scott Wimmer stays out to take the lead in the 23 car. Justin Allgaier will start in the second position, making a part-time start for Penske in the 02. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be in third in the 88 as he stays out as well. Jeremy Mayfield in fourth. And Jeff Gordon in the 24 will be in the fifth position. Also worth mentioning on that yellow flag is Tony Stewart, second in the championship standings. Didn't even really notice it, but he was another one of the drivers that was involved in that accident on the backstretch. Got pancaked into the outside wall thanks to the spinning traffic. And it was with Carl Edwards that he made a lot of contact, so damage for him. DJ Kennington, the points leader, got away clean. He was in front of all the trouble. So Scott Wimmer going to lead the field to the green here. It'll be lap number 6 on the restart. As we come back to the stripe this time. A lot of racing action left here in Darlington. Pace car in to the left. And we're going to lead the field towards the restart box here. Long wait before we get back underway. But out of turn 4. 23, 02, 88, the top 3 as we head into the restart box. Green flag is in the air, and we are back underway right away as Wimmer leads Allgaier into turn number 1. Good start for the top 2 as we head down the backstretch and towards turn 3 up to speed. Once more, big single file train, everybody trying to stay calm after that early incident. All clean all the way to the back of the field at the moment, but Wimmer holds the lead after the opening lap. Tires all up to temperature now. Top 6 under a blanket back to the 83 of Sadler. Kyle Busch trying to join the fray as well. Nobody making moves just yet. One of the big aspects of this racetrack is it is a waiting game here. It's so narrow, so difficult to make passes. But here comes Justin Allgaier, the rookie part-timer, underneath of Scott Wimmer, and he takes away the race lead. Wimmer going to drop back to about third, side by side with fellow Dodge Jeremy Mayfield down on the bottom there. As they head towards turn 3. Wimmer trying to hang tough on that outside, 3 and 4. And he's going to pull it off, stays clear in P3, but Justin Allgaier with a green flag lap led here tonight with Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s number 88 right in tow behind him. Field still all clean. And the 47 of Shane Meal, making another part-time start today, is failing to meet minimum speed, so it'll be a DNF for him. Only car underneath the minimum speed threshold after that early accident. Down the front stretch here, top 2 have broken away, thanks to that battle for P3 just a couple laps ago between Wimmer and Mayfield. So it's just Earnhardt Jr. and the 02 of Allgaier out well in front of the rest of this field. Wimmer still leading that train back to about Kenseth in ninth. How about this kid, Justin Allgaier, making another start? Made a start last week at Bristol in the O2 car. That was the race where he won the Busch race prior to the Cup race. Didn't have anything going for him in the Cup start, but a great run here for Allgaier. Had a top 5 in the Busch race last night and having a fantastic run to start today. Got a lot of race left, a lot of time for adjustments. But Allgaier having a very good start here in one of the biggest races of the season, and he sits first, just in front of one of the very best drivers of this season in the Cup Series, in Earnhardt Jr. Gave him a look out of turn 4, couldn't quite complete the pass. Meanwhile, further back, Jeremy Mayfield slips underneath and past the 23 of Scott Wimmer for the 3rd position. Jeff Gordon underneath of the 23, potentially trying to take away 4th. As Wimmer, after taking the lead on that early caution flag, staying out, seems to be going nowhere but backwards. Gordon and him still side by side as they race towards turn number 1 this time, and Wimmer just barely clears him. Stay in front. See Kenseth and Kyle Busch stuck on the outside there. Busch gets clear of the 18 of Bobby Labonte. Still battling back there as Kenseth stuck on the outside of the 2 of Brad Keselowski. Trying to hang tough. That outside, really not where you want to be in turn 1, but in turns 3 and 4, you can hang tight around that outside, but as you see right there, it is such a tough angle to get into turn 1 on that outside lane, and Kenseth almost got the wall there in turn 2, just about kept out of it. It is not the spot you want to be in. 14 laps completed here from Darlington, as Justin Allgaier continuing to hold off this 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. and is leading lap after lap, and is starting to look like one of the better cars in this field by this point, as he pulls away from the 88 of Earnhardt Jr. that lap. What a story it would be if Allgaier, of all people, could bring his part-time O2 team to victory lane here in the Cup Series. We've seen a lot of young drivers in part-time gigs in the Cup Series really shine over the last year or two. We've seen, of course, Casey Kane when he was coming up in the Cup Series, running races part-time in the 38 for Yates, making some competitive runs, almost won a Bristol race before he got his full-time promotion. And, of course, last year, DJ Kennington and Brad Keselowski doing double duty for a lot of the year, replacing drivers who were released in the middle of the season, getting some success, both of them having wins last year. And it is another Penske prospect, Justin Allgaier, running up front in a part-time race. Sits in the lead early here in one of the toughest races on the calendar. And Earnhardt Jr.'s number 88 car still trying to run him down from the lead, but he's got a long, long way up to that first place car and has not really seemed like he's been closing that gap. We'll see how the long run goes, of course. We talk about tires being so important at this track. It could be a big deal if Earnhardt Jr. could save some stuff and maybe start to close up. Comes with that experience, but Allgaier, at least at the moment, looking fantastic in the race lead right now. As you look back at the first battle on the racetrack, as Jeff Gordon in the 24 just got the outside wall in turn 3. That's a really rough spot for the 24, and he stays stuck in it the entire corner. As Biffle, Newman, and Kurt Busch close up to the back of the 24, and they are all going to slip underneath and past him. And get a look at the right side. Little bit of damage on the right side of Jeff Gordon's 24. Doesn't seem too bad, but lost a lot of spots. Just fell back to 13th behind the 17 of Matt Kenseth. So, and there you see it. Even the veterans, it's sometimes a struggle to keep it out of that outside wall. And car coming in for service is Marcos Ambrose on lap number 18 here. Had a little bit of damage on the right side of his race car. I think that was from the early wreck. Hard to tell exactly when that damage came from. No, seems like it was afterwards. So get a look at, and incident involving Ambrose. This was about 10 laps ago with the 13 car. Might have got just a little bit of help into the outside wall here in turn 3, if I would have to imagine. And no, actually followed the 0-0 of Jason Leffler into the outside wall. And pretty lucky that didn't result in a yellow flag, because that was a tight situation with the number 8. So Ambrose, an unscheduled stop to fix the right side of his car, and is forced to rejoin the racetrack here amidst some traffic. Tough break for Ambrose having to pit early, but he gets back on the track without much issue. Justin Allgaier is still in the race lead, over 20 laps completed now, as this green run continues to whittle away. It's Allgaier, Earnhardt Jr., Mayfield, Wimmer, and Sadler the top 5 at the moment, as this 02 continues to lead laps. One of the cars who stayed out on that initial yellow flag, so going to have to pit for fuel and tires just a little bit earlier than these guys. Be interesting to see if that cycles out in any sort of impactful way at the end of the race, with a little bit of extra fuel miles for all the drivers who came in. Only about 8 or 9 stayed on the racetrack. Headed down the backstretch here, Earnhardt Jr. We talked about that experience and maybe saving a little bit of tires. Closed up to the back bumper of Allgaier there, made a little bit of a worse 3 and 4 by that 88, and could not quite get up to the back bumper. Now he's under pressure from Mayfield's 54. It's going to cut him some slack going into turn 1. Give him another chance at trying to close up to the 02 of Allgaier, and he had a pretty good center in 1 and 2 there. Trying to close that gap. Not quite able to make a move yet, but still filling the mirror of that Sonic Pontiac G8. Top 5 under a blanket here, back to Sadler. There's a tight race up front right now. And Jason Leffler, the other car you saw in the wall earlier there, brought it to pit road as well. Made it a couple extra laps, but the damage proves too much. So Leffler brings it down the pit lane as well. Top 3 bumper to bumper as Allgaier still trying to hold off the 88 and 54 of Earnhardt Jr. and Mayfield here. Mayfield gave a look to Jr. in turn 1, and meanwhile in the background, Elliott Sadler moves past Wimmer, and the caution flag comes out, and we are wrecking pretty big on the front stretch here. Second caution of the night. Riggs in it again. Clint Boyer's number 4. 13 of Ambrose involved. Casey Kane's number 12. And Jimmy Johnson involved again as well. Leffler just, oh my goodness, just turned Jimmy Johnson leaving the pits, and Johnson almost went into traffic there. That was a pretty dangerous situation, but the leaders take the yellow flag, and we're under caution for the second time here tonight. So get a look back at the incident on the front stretch here. Looked like it was further up the road, involving the 13 of Ambrose, obviously on the fresher tires. But didn't seem, no, he didn't put anybody in the wall. It was McMurray in the 40 who got the fence, and Ambrose kind of trapped behind him and bounced off of him into the 10 of Yello, and then back into the wall. 21 involved in it, the 4, and heavy hits there for the 48 and the 12. As Casey Kane got jacked up by the 48 of Jimmy Johnson there, who had nowhere to go to get around that wreck. That was a hard hit. Everybody stays on their wheels. So we're under caution again. Scott Wimmer looking like he's going to stay out another time here. Jason Leffler, the lucky dog. The only other car still on the racetrack. 4 tires and fuel going on for everybody on pit road here. And Allgaier, the previous race leader, is going to pretty handily win the race off of pit road. And Elliott Sadler moves into the second position off the pits as well. But Scott Wimmer's number 23 stays out again. He's going to be the race leader here unless he decides to pit late. 23 in first. We'll take an intermission here from Darlington. Scott Wimber in first. It's NASCAR and ESPN here from the Southern 500. Back from intermission here at Darlington as we get set to go green once again. Second caution of the night. Wimmer's number 23 did come in for a late pit stop, and he is all the way at the back of the field. A bit of a head scratcher on the strategy there, but he'll restart in the back. Justin Allgaier re-inherits the race lead. Second place is going to be Elliott Sadler. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in third, and then it's the two Petty teammates, Kyle Busch and Jeremy Mayfield, fourth and fifth. So we get set to go green. Be lap number 31 on the restart for the race leader, Justin Allgaier. This race continuing to wind away. Allgaier putting together an impressive run. Has led about 20-25 laps now. And looking like the early car to beat. See if that stays together. But had a great short to mid-run car on that last run. So we'll see if he can break away. Got a different car in second place this time, as Sadler will restart P2. But Allgaier putting together a very impressive performance in his young career. Pace car leading everybody into turn 4 here and going to peel off on the left. Couple of Pontiacs up front, Justin Allgaier and Elliott Sadler first and second as we head towards the restart box. Waiting for the signal here as we leave turn 4. Allgaier waiting, and finally, green flag is in the air, and we are back underway as we race towards turn number 1. Once again, a good start from the top 2, as Allgaier leads everybody up to speed. Sadly putting a little bit of pressure on him to start. Earnhardt Jr.'s got an even bigger run as we head towards turn 3. See if anybody tries to duck out of line on the cold tires. Answer's no. Everybody stays in line for the moment in the top 10. Out of turn 4 and up to speed now down the front stretch. 38 of Newman took a look on Biffle. Still trying to maybe show the nose, but can't quite get underneath him. Kyle Busch a little bit sideways there in turn 1. Sadler also trying to challenge Allgaier for the lead, but couldn't quite get underneath of him. Top 3 breakaway thanks to Kyle Busch getting a little bit sideways. But now down the front stretch and towards turn 1, Sadler looking for the lead. Down on the bottom into turn 1, and he's going to get it this time. Junior trying to follow suit with him, and he's going to do just that. But Elliott Sadler takes away the race lead on lap number 33. Kyle Busch trying to get P3 from the O2 car. Busch really squeezing that O2. Allgaier keeps it out of the wall. That safer barrier catches up on you fast on that outside lane. But Allgaier falls back to 5th. Stays in front of the 16 of Greg Biffle. And Elliott Sadler has taken away the lead in this race. Junior, big run out of turn 2, taking a look, and he is going to go low towards turn 3, side by side for first. Sadler just got a piece of the wall with the right rear, but that's going to give Dale Earnhardt Jr. the lead on lap 34. Kyle Busch thought about a move on Sadler for that second spot into turn 1. Thought better of it. Going to be a little patient here. Sadler maybe with a little tiny bit of damage to the right side of his race car. Just got that wall in turn 3. Didn't stay magnified to it, but lost that time, lost the spot. Junior's got the lead, but now out of turn 4, big run by Sadler again, taking a look. And he is going to go to the bottom in turn 1, and they trade spots again. Elliott Sadler takes the lead right back. And Kyle Busch chasing Junior up the hill trying to get P2. Teammate right behind him. But a great run by Junior out of turn 2. Does he hold that position? He does. 88 stays in second, but it's Elliott Sadler that has ran away with the race lead. And you see that margin there between the 88 and the 83, pretty sizable gap. As the front group continues to race away. Junior trying to close back up to the back bumper of Sadler. Gained a lot of time there in 3 and 4, taking Kyle Busch with him. Gave a big look. A bit opportunistic there, but trying to show the nose, show his presence, chasing Sadler up, but beautiful turn 2 by Elliott Sadler to stay in front of him. Kyle Busch still right on the back bumper of this 88 car into turn 2. Or excuse me, turn 3. No move by the 43 car as Junior really looking very good on that end of the racetrack in 3 and 4. Closes back up. Gonna try to make the move. But Sadler shuts the door on him in turn 1 and holds on to that first position. Junior again chasing up to the back bumper of this 83. Down the back stretch between the top 2. See if Junior's got anything for him into 3. Gonna be patient again. Maybe try and set him up for turn 1. See if he can get this corner down. And he really did. You see that exit speed there in turn 4. See if Junior goes to the bottom in turn 1, or if Kyle Busch spoils the party. Neither of them able to make the move. So the top 4 under a blanket for just a moment, but Junior and Sadler better turn 2 pull away again. Junior really playing patient here with the leader, Elliott Sadler. These two ex-teammates way back when from Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, back when their team still existed. Now fighting in 2 completely separate organizations. Earnhardt Jr. second, Sadler first, holds him off for the time being again in turns 1 and 2, but another good exit by Earnhardt Jr., but still no move from the 88 car. Kyle Busch pulling away from his teammate Mayfield, 3rd and 4th. Allgaier knocking at the door of the 54 for the 4th position. And Allgaier kind of forced Mayfield to give him the line, spooked him up the racetrack. 0-2 moves back into 4th place. Here's Biffle to try to take 5th. Kurt Busch maybe for the 6th position. And how about this comeback drive from Juan Pablo Montoya around the 30th position starting this race, and has moved into the top 10 and knocking on the outside door of the top 5. What a run by this 84. sitting in the 8th position right now. And meanwhile, up front in turn 1 that time, Earnhardt Jr. finally got back underneath Elliott Sadler, and the 88 has retaken the race lead. And worth mentioning, between these two up front right now, two of the longest standing winless streaks in the Cup Series right now, with drivers that have won races in their career. Earnhardt Jr., as we've mentioned over and over again, hasn't won a race since 2002 Talladega. It's race number 9 of that season, and Elliott Sadler hasn't won since Bristol in 2001. So both of these drivers with winless streaks spanning 5 or more years, both of them real hungry for it on the biggest stage, and they have been dueling for this first position for the last couple of laps. Junior still with first. Sadler gave a thought for that first position in turn 1, didn't quite get there, and Junior had a fantastic turn 1 there. Sadler maybe a little bit better on exit to try and claw some of that time back. Top 4 evenly spaced. Junior, Sadler, Kyle Busch, and Justin Allgaier, the top 4, as this race continues to wind away. Sadler again to the back bumper of the 88, still gonna be conservative. And again, Junior looking real stout in turn 1, had a fantastic first half of 1 and 2. Again, you see that exit speed out of the 83, especially off of the second corner. Closes that gap just a little bit. I always talk about how hard it is to be the leading car in really any race. But at this track especially, it is so hard to run your own lines with nobody in front of you. And we've seen a lot of that here today. It's been hard for the leader to pull away. And especially between these two who have traded the lead so many times so far in this event. These two are doing a great job of putting on a show here tonight. Sadler right back to the back bumper again. But still not able to quite nail turn 4 in the way he wants to make that move into turn 1. See in the back of your screen there, of course, Biffle moved into the top 5, starting to catch up to this front group right now. Kurt Busch in 6th. It's Mayfield 7th. 8th belongs to Newman. DJ Kennington, the points leader, in 9th. And Bobby Labonte's number 18, winner at this track a year ago, is in the 10th position. And here comes Kyle Busch to try and spoil the party up front as he moves underneath the runner-up position, Elliott Sadler, and the 43 moves into P2. Allgaier follows him, Biffle through as well, and Sadler loses 3 positions in one set of corners, the 83 back down to 5th. Is Kyle Busch going to be the latest to try and make a run at first? Junior, Busch, Allgaier, Biffle, and then Sadler, the top 5, all still under a blanket. It's been a very entertaining race up front so far in this one. As this race continues to wind away. Long show doesn't last forever. As we're approaching the halfway mark here in the Southern 500. Earnhardt Jr. still in the lead. Gonna take you to some engines and nothing else. Let you listen to the race cars here tonight. NASCAR on ESPN, crank it up as you take a listen to these 42 V8s here from Darlington. on board the target visor cam with Kurt Busch sitting in the 4th position. That 01 car really starting to charge his way through the field. He's moved into the top 5 and starting to close on the race leaders here as we hit the halfway mark here from Darlington. Dale Earnhardt Jr. really mentioned earlier in the last run that he seemed to have a car that might have really found some long run pace and has really honed that in on this one and has started to pull away just a little bit from the rest of the field here as Kyle Busch still in the 2nd position. Saw a car on pit road there. Jason Leffler's number 00. No damage on the 00 this time, would imagine. We're probably getting a little close to pit cycles here as the long run continues to wind away. As Junior really starting to run away in first place, and there it is. Dale Earnhardt Jr., race leader, going to bring it down pit road on lap number 57. Kyle Busch in the 43 inherits the race lead for the first time tonight. This is a very important stop here. First green flag pit stop of the night for everybody in this field. It's going to be a matter of keeping it clean, having a good stop. Jason Leffler, one of the first pitters, rejoins the racetrack. Tight margins there as Biffle comes in. Kyle Busch, the race leader, into the pits as well. Justin Allgaier will take away the first spot. Dale Earnhardt Jr. moving to rejoin the racetrack pretty soon here as well, you would have to imagine. 4 tires and fuel for him. And Junior, the race leader, is away. Seemed like a solid stop from him. He is out of pit road. Sadler, the 83, to follow. And Allgaier and Kurt Busch, 2 who stayed out the longest, are going to bring it in as well. Looking like nobody else is going to retain their spot on the racetrack. These are the last couple of guys that made it, about 5 or so of them. But Allgaier in, continuing his impressive top 5 run here tonight and bringing it down pit road, looking for a clean pit stop. Oh, and he made contact there. Kurt Busch got into him. So a little bit of a dent on the rear of Allgaier. We'll see if they have to pull that bumper out and elongate this stop. Same for Kurt Busch with the front of his race car. Going to do a check on that. And it is going to be a little bit of a hold for damage repair here. Just a couple of extra seconds. No repair for Kurt Busch, who leapfrogs him in the pits thanks to that. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. with the shortcut in the pits is going to be a long, long way out in front in this race lead. Couple of drivers with issues on pit road. Ryan Newman falls a lap down thanks to issues in the pits. JJ Yello as well had a pretty rough stop and had to hold for a long time. In fact, seemed like it was a damage repair stop for Newman. That was a 30-second pit stop. Yeah, had a lot of damage on the right side of his car. And it seemed like that came from earlier on, about lap 54. So right before this pit cycle started for Newman, looked like he got the wall in turn 3. Yes, he did. So a long damage stop for Newman puts him a lap down. Issues for Yello in the pits as well. Held him for quite a long time from the looks of things. Didn't quite get lapped, but down in the 27th position. Dale Earnhardt Jr. now comfortably in the race lead. Kyle Busch is number 43, trying to take away this second spot from Elliott Sadler, and he is not quite clear out of turn 2. Still side by side for the second position. Sadler keeps it out of the wall, but Kyle Busch is going to take away the runner-up spot. On the slightly fresher tires, stayed out just a little bit longer. Bobby Labonte and Juan Pablo Montoya, with some undercut stops, move into 4th and 5th. Greg Biffle is in 6th. Kurt Busch down to 7th. Allgaier dropped to 8th, battling with Mayfield, who's going to take away that 8th position, demote him to 9th. And Jim McMurray, who recently announced his new sponsorship with Sharpie for next season, in the 10th position in the 44 Chip Ganassi as this race continues here in Darlington. But Earnhardt Jr. comfortably in the lead, and issues for David Rudiman having some engine trouble. No smoke out of the 98 car, so he is going to bring it to pit road without issue. This will not be a caution. Seeming like Rudiman down a cylinder. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. breathing a sigh of relief that that's not a yellow flag. Loving this comfortable lead over Kyle Busch as Elliott Sadler almost lost a position there, but going to hold off the lap car Newman and the 18 and 84 to stay in third. But his teammate right behind him was just on that incredible recovery drive here tonight in that fifth position. And Labonte, who always seems to be strong at this racetrack, in the fourth spot in the 18. Kyle Busch trying to find a way to run down Dale Jr. for the lead. Got the slightly fresher tires on the overcut. See if it works out for him, but he's got a long way to go. Earnhardt Jr. comfortably leading this race. And looking for that sweet, sweet first Yates win. .98 of Reutemann is going to stay in the race. We'll see if he meets minimum speed here after some engine troubleshooting in pit road. Rough break for him takes him out of the race. Just 31 cars running in this thing. It's been a bit of a madhouse in the first half, but the second section of this race looking a lot cleaner at the moment. Had the longest green run of the race by far going here. The story of Earnhardt Jr. trying to run away and hide in this one as Kyle Busch is still running some better laps than this 88, trying to run him down. Gap to first is 1.3 seconds now, but Kyle Busch has been running about half a second or so a lap faster over the last handful of laps, trying to get him for first. He's got a long way to go, but seeming like he is making good time in catching this 88 for P1. Third place still belonging to Sadler. Labonte and Montoya still 4th and 5th. Biffle in the 6th position. Kurt Busch 7th. Mayfield in 8th. 9th is Allgaier. McMurray still in 10th, so the top 10 still unchanged at the moment. And an update on your championship contenders you just saw on there. DJ Kennington and Tony Stewart battling for the 12th position. Right nose to tail on the racetrack right now. And this is a battle to watch at the moment. Kennington right up the back bumper of his teammate Kevin Harvick in the 20. Trying to run him down. Maybe make a pass here. Put a buffer to him in that 42. But the two championship contenders are right up next to each other on this racetrack as saw Allgaier make a pass on Jeremy Mayfield's 54 there. McMurray slips past as well. Kennington under pressure here from Stewart. Still nothing doing between those two. Meanwhile, up front, still Earnhardt Jr. starting to run into his first lap traffic of the night here. Got TJ Bell in the 26 right up in front of him as Kyle Busch continues to try to chase him down. A couple of aligned cars here. That 26, the Carter entry, is in the same shop as that Petty 43, so you'd have to imagine that Junior's really not liking seeing this 26 up in front of him and didn't make the move into turn one there. And that allows Kyle Busch to run right up to the back bumper of this 88 as we now have a battle for the lead on our hands once again. Junior's still not making the move. Kyle Busch showed the nose there into turn three. Didn't quite make it stick. But Junior, I think at this point, is just being a little too patient with this 26 car. And not only is that allowing Kyle Busch to sit right on his back bumper, that's going to allow now third place Bobby Labonte, who has moved into the third position, to start to maybe close up. Junior makes the look now into turn three. And he is going to get underneath the TJ Bell this time. Busch moves right on past. See the lap car Newman looking for the lucky dog position, moving past TJ Bell as well as Kyle Busch showing the nose on Dale Earnhardt Jr., but just could not quite get the move done yet. And Junior, once he got away from the lap car, TJ Bell really just rocketed away from Kyle Busch a little bit, but the 43, much better 1 and 2 that time, pulls all the way back up. See if he has a move for this 88 here. Junior found a little bit of speed out of the corner and is going to hold him behind. And in fact, Ryan Newman, the lap car, really looking to try to race for this lap back. Moves past Kyle Busch here. Putting a buffer between Junior and that 43, but he's got a couple more lap cars in front of him. Brad Keselowski and David Rudiman. Big stack up here. And it's going to be Brad Keselowski who gets underneath the lap car Rudiman. Couple of lappers racing each other, and Kyle Busch kind of gets hung up on this 98 here in turn 2. Not the spot you want to be in, and that opens the door for Bobby Labonte, who started to pull up late. Moving into the mix in the 18 car, but Junior, man, really got away from Kyle Busch thanks to the 98 hanging him up in turn 2 there. Down the back stretch, Junior in a bit of a lap car sandwich. Got his teammate Ryan Newman right behind him in the 38, so Newman probably going to cut this 88 just a little bit of slack as this race is starting to disappear. Approaching 30 laps to go here from Darlington, and Junior is starting to get within the home stretch here in the Southern 500. Gotta imagine there's one more pit stop left in this thing. Question is going to be when that pit stop takes place. But we're probably getting pretty close to it. They should pretty comfortably be able to make it from here on one more pit stop. But it is going to be a big money stop here. Junior's still stuck behind the lap car Keselowski as Kyle Busch is starting to get larger in that rearview mirror again. Labonte actually ran into some trouble, probably got trained there on the outside. And lost P3 to Juan Pablo Montoya's number 84. And all of these guys stuck behind the 26. So kind of just passing amongst themselves. Kurt Busch moves underneath of Elliott Sadler for a top 5 spot. And as we check back on the battle between the two championship leaders, Stewart has fallen well behind of Kennington as he is in front of the 40 and the 42. Stewart just behind his teammate McMurray here. Behind another train of David Rudiman. And Kurt Busch got underneath of the 84 of Montoya, and he moves into the 3rd position now. Gotta imagine these guys are starting to get fed up with this 26 car. But none of them have made the move to filter him to the outside yet. And meanwhile, Junior is still behind the 2 of Keselowski as well. So inside 30 to go now from the Southern 500. This race continuing to wind away. One of the biggest races of the season. We say it over and over again. And it is crunch time here from Darlington as Kyle Busch. Big run on the 38 of Ryan Newman. No move from him to get underneath of the teammates at Earnhardt Jr. and make it clean track to this 88. These guys are really struggling with their lap traffic, but they did finally just get rid of TJ Bell back there. And it was actually The 0-1 of Kurt Busch, who holds on to third, and Elliott Sadler fourth, and Greg Biffle rounds out the top five. So these guys might start to bear down on this front group if they can't get rid of Brad Keselowski, though I don't think the 2 is nearly as slow as that 26 is. So they're probably going to be hoping for one more yellow flag. And I think there might have been an incident here. Actually, Allgaier might have got the wall. Yes, he did. So a bit of a mistake there from Allgaier, was following TJ Bell's number 26, and he got into the outside wall. That's a really rough break for Allgaier, who is having such a fantastic run here tonight, and he's now outside of the top 15, continuing to fall backwards. And you really just hate to see that. Meanwhile, up front, Kyle Busch just got underneath and past Ryan Newman, making it clean track between the top 2. So it is Busch and Jr. for the lead and potentially the win here late. Busch had been chasing this 88 down for a while, and it's now going to be the question of if Kyle Busch can try to find a way around Dale Earnhardt Jr. But Jr. is finally going to find a way underneath the Keselowski, the 2, in turn 1, and clean track once more for the 88. But Kyle Busch got past the 2 as well. And in fact, Keselowski comes straight to pit road after getting past. So we are going to see that final pit stop with about 25 to 20 to go. See Jason Leffler on pit road there as well. And here comes the money stop. See if Junior goes for the undercut, and if Kyle Busch decides to follow him this time. Could be pretty big here. Junior's going to come in, and Kyle Busch is going to follow him. Gave him a bump coming to pit road. And here come the 2 race leaders down pit lane. Inside 25 laps to go. Kurt Busch stays out an extra lap. He inherits the lead, but this is the biggest moment on the racetrack here. Kyle Busch, 43, in on his left, and Busch comes in for his service. Most important stop of the night. And the biggest thing for Kyle Busch here is having a clean exit out of the pits. But he had to hold for Eric Norris. Junior did not. And the 88 has an advantage leaving pit road now. And that is gigantic for the 88 cars. He has a massive buffer to Kyle Busch now. Junior out of the pits and onto the racetrack, and he gets up to speed. Meanwhile, caution flag is out. It's Allgaier and Carl Edwards, and this race is flipped on its head. Unbelievable. Kyle Busch gets in front of the 88 as well. The question is, are they even on the lead lap? Tony Stewart in the 42 stayed out, and he is the race leader. Unbelievable. And we are under caution for the 3rd time tonight. It was Carl Edwards and Justin Allgaier. Damage 19 car leaving pit road here with Justin Allgaier on the outside. I believe Allgaier probably went to go into pit road. He did, and Edwards came up his inside, and probably a spotter miscommunication there. And the 19 and the 02 go into the wall, and we are under caution. Unbelievable turn of events. 54 of Mayfield with damage as well. Got into the 96, who is behind the pacing queue going around there. So Mayfield with an incident. And I believe there was more. Yeah, it looks like they stacked up afterwards. Yeah, Atwood got into it, and the 21 followed as well. Goodness gracious, so many people piled into that. Almost like there was a fluid on the track or something, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. has heavy damage. I do not believe it. We will head to intermission here from Darlington. It'll be inside 20 to go when we do eventually go green. And the Southern 500 has just gotten flipped upside down here tonight. And we will be right back here from NASCAR and ESPN. Back from intermission here at Darlington as we get set to go green. Kurt Busch in the 01 is going to have the race lead after a wild turn of events. He restarts in the first position out of nowhere. Ganassi has all three of their cars in the top five. McMurray will restart in the second position. Matt Kenseth still looking for that cup win this season. He's in third. Tony Stewart in this championship hunt sits in fourth. Fifth place belongs to Greg Biffle, and DJ Kennington in the second position. He is in sixth. A lot of damaged cars up here. This is going to get pretty crazy, but the top group are going to be unhindered, and Kurt Busch is going to lead everyone to the green here. But this race just absolutely got flipped upside down And it is going to be a wild run to the finish. Potentially a teammate duel between the 01, 40, 17, 42, and 16. Pair of teams, Ganassi and Roush, up at the front of this field. 16 to go on the restart as Kurt Busch is going to take us to the green flag here. Pace car in. Also heartbreaking news there on that yellow flag as Dale Earnhardt Jr. is out of the race after what seemed like a surefire route to victory. But the field coming to the restart box here. 01 in first. All bets are off into the restart box. Green flag is back in the air and a fantastic jump by Kurt Busch in the lead. McMurray really kind of caught napping there on the restart. Going to have to recoup. Kenseth put pressure on, didn't make a move. Down the backstretch as the damaged cars start to drop off. Looking like it's going to be between about the top 6, maybe more than that, as Kyle Busch gets filtered out of line by Elliott Sadler on the bottom. Kenseth going to move underneath the 40 of McMurray, and he is going to steal second place here. And Matt Kenseth has found his way into the mix for the lead late. Kurt Busch trying to run and hide up front. Does anyone have anything for the 01? Kenseth with a huge run out of turn 4 down the front stretch. Looking to make a move towards turn 1. Here comes Matt Kenseth underneath the Kurt Busch, and he's got the race lead. Stewart into second place. Monster run by Tony Stewart down the backstretch. Now he's going to try to take the lead from Matt Kenseth. Kenseth got the wall. Here comes Tony Stewart trying to take the lead, and he's got it. But here comes Biffle to challenge the 42. Unbelievable change of events here on the final run, and Greg Biffle's going to take away the race lead. 3 liters in 3/4 of a lap. Cunnington to P3, trying to take away second from his championship rival. Stewart trying to run the 16 back down. Had a fantastic 1 and 2 that last time by. Trying to get back up to Biffle, who's looking for his second win of the season, as is Tony Stewart. Kennington out of nowhere into the mix for the race lead, looking for win number 5. Looking to the bottom on Tony Stewart for second place, but Stewart shuts the door on him in turn 1. Kenseth still in this thing in 5th despite getting the wall. Stewart with a big run down the front stretch. 10 laps to go is the count for Greg Biffle, who keeps him behind in turn 1. Top 5 all under a blanket. Kurt Busch trying to make it 6. Kennington to the back bumper of Stewart towards turn 3. Doesn't make the move yet. Stewart pulling up to the back bumper of Biffle for first, now 9 laps to go. McMurray with the pressure on Kennington for third. All of them in the mix for the lead. Stewart still trying to find a way around Biffle for first. Down out of turn 4 this time. 8 to go now. Stewart still unable to make a move on Biffle for P1. Kurt Busch is pulled into the mix, and it is now 6 cars under a blanket for the lead. But Stewart and Biffle starting to pull away from the rest of the top 6. Great 3 and 4 by Greg Biffle that time. Pulls away from Stewart down the front stretch. And McMurray gets underneath of Kennington to take away P3. Kenseth will move to 4th as well. Kurt Busch stays side by side with the 81 for 5th. Stewart up to the back bumper of Biffle again. Still side by side for P5, and Kurt Busch is going to take that position. Down the front stretch, Stewart gave a little tiny look, but still not able to get the nose underneath into turn 1. McMurray, his teammate, behind him in 3rd. McMurray, a monster run on the 42 down the backstretch. Does he make a move on his teammate? He does not. It's Roush, Ganassi, and Roush, the top 4, out of turn 4. 5 laps to go. McMurray's ran out of patience with his teammate. Down underneath of the 42 for the 2nd spot, and he's going to take it. Kenseth trying to follow through into 3rd, and he will. Kenseth, despite getting the wall from the lead, is not out of this thing yet. Stewart trying to get underneath the Kenseth for the 3rd position into turn number 1. Could not do it. Kenseth stays clear. Meanwhile, Biffle starting to scoot away in the race lead. But Stewart did get underneath the Kenseth out of turn 2. Does Kenseth clear him into 3? He does, just about, but can Stewart stay there? He will. Those two falling out of the mix for the lead. It's looking like it'll be between McMurray and Biffle for the win. 3 laps to go. Traffic of Mayfield and Edwards will be pulled off the racetrack to get out of the way of the race leaders. Biffle scooting away from McMurray here, coming to 2 laps to go. But McMurray had a big run out of turn 4, closing the gap to the 16. Does McMurray have anything left in the tank? He's got just a lap and 3/4 to catch up to the 16 of Biffle, but he's running him down out of turn 2. This is going to be the battle for the win in the Southern 500, and here comes McMurray on the backstretch. Down to the bottom in turn 3. McMurray trying to steal it from Biffle at the end. He's clear in turn 4. Out of the final corner. Last lap in the Southern 500, and McMurray has stolen the lead. Does Biffle have anything left? Big run by McMurray coming out of turn 2. I'm falling over my words. Half a lap to go. McMurray has stolen this lead, and it's looking like he's going to steal this win. Announced his sponsorship coming into this week. Stability for the 40. McMurray wins the Southern 500 in an unbelievable turn of events. Jamie McMurray demands a show. What a finish to the Southern 500 here in 2007. And just when you thought he was all but out of it, McMurray with one of the best sets of corners in 1 and 2 I've seen this entire night. Such an amazing exit by that 40 car, carried the speed all the way through, had the confidence to stay in the throttle, and moved underneath him on the backstretch. And McMurray with even better brakes into turn 3 left Biffle in the dust, and he steals it from the 16 team right at the end of this thing. Unbelievable. What a finish here tonight. And McMurray is your winner. Just an absolutely unbelievable turn of events at the end of this race. That late caution, the incidents under yellow flag, taking the dominant car, Dale Earnhardt Jr., out of the race at the end of that thing. And the Roush and Ganassi show at the end of it, and McMurray steals one here tonight. What a finish. With just 2 laps to go. And if I'm not mistaken, those are the only laps that 40 car led all night. That'll do it for coverage here from Darlington. Jamie McMurray with an absolute robbery of a win here tonight. He takes home what should be, I believe that is his second win of this 2007 season for that 40 car, and it is. Second win of the year for McMurray here tonight. Next week, it'll be race number 24 as we conclude the middle third of this season. It's Nashville for the MBNA All-American Heroes 400. But on behalf of Nate joining me for the booth for a little bit of tonight's event, I'm Caden Reif. It's been a pleasure to have you along as always. We'll see you next week. And as always, have yourself a good one.